Alright. So what I was talking about, anyways, so these experiences constantly. It's a constant experience of fix, break, fix, break, fix, break. Anyways, it's so basically I have a feature where it reviews a worksheet, extracts it, determines if the worksheet needs to be updated, and if it needs to be updated. So, for example, here it's discovered that there's a new field that needs to be added to the worksheet, reading comprehension. So that should get added. And I was finding it weird because, see, this is the call, and let me stop that music. And here's, so it's supposed to be adding this to this section, and the output. So activity format, just remember reading comprehension. Activity format, so yeah, so you see, it added it here. So it did it correctly. So I knew it was a problem with the application. I had this issue before. I really wish it doesn't continuously just creep in. I have a feeling it's related to my docs. That's my gut. Apply. Where's yeah, I think something from here is throwing it off all the time. Another potential problem. Okay, if you have words correctly, developing words correctly, LM processing fails the apply suggestion. Suggestion application fails. The error is caught and logged, but API still returns success. Yeah, that's a problem. Okay, what? Okay, please. problems. I think a lot of these also is a result of documentation problem, because the GPT-5 knowledge in the modeling, so I'm not too sure, but anyways, I'm pretty sure it's not up to date in at least the models themselves. So in order to get the correct implementation, you pretty much need to have the latest docs, which you can get with Context 7, which is one of the MCPs I'm using. I would say I used Context 7 and what else the most? Context 7. I just like mentally went off. I use Context 7 and Playwright. Yeah, Playwright is the two that I use the most. I think you can see that I have this thing called Archon, but I don't really use it too much. Yeah, I think Archon is good to use. Archon, I guess, is just almost like a universal task management system, and also a RAG pipeline that's all built into one application. Which is pretty cool. I belonged to this community before. And I said before because I stopped for now. I just don't use it enough. But I'll probably join back because I think they have a lot of good content. And Co-Medin is really good. So this is Archon. Cool product. Definitely cool to check it out. The linting elements. Okay. I personally like to see what's occurring, so I'll try to go through as much as what I can review. And most of the time these are like 38 lines. These are not too bad. So it's doing a check to see if there is the response choice. Yeah, it's just doing some validation. I guess what I'm not too sure is so it's required or so I'll try catch blocks. So what I'm doing here is definitely just like full on using cursor to handle the majority of my stuff, which which I would say has been mediocre. I mean, I will talk about this based on what I've learned over the past year and a half. And I'd say that so this everything with coding with LLMs is, and when do you apply certain methodologies in LLM coding, I think it comes down to this whole idea of ambiguity and clarity, which at this point in my code base, I would say that I am, so if you say that this is a spectrum, I'm closer to the clarity portion of it. So the only issue with me with Python is that Python is not my language of choice. I actually program in PHP, but I wanted to give this a try because I'm making a product that's connecting with OpenAI, and I think I wanted to give this a shot, like using cursor to build the application out. So there is now being problem. I don't know, did it get resolved? We'll have to see. Nope. Not at all. Still the same shit. So in this one, let's see, it should enter format. I think it's, yeah. Nope. Didn't add. I can check the document. And I'm pretty sure, wait, did I get the right one? Yeah, no, didn't. The funny thing is that this was fixed before. Sometimes this so basically this is the one that's getting thrown, continuing with next. The Y. Maybe I should use GPT-4. No, I should go with this. I mean, it's... No. Why? Oh. This is an incorrect assertion. GPT-4o. I don't think you need a test for this, but in this case, no. That is an incorrect assertion. I mean, it simply isn't true. Okay. So we're saying that this is now it's correctly throwing the error, but wait, how much money do I have? Where the fuck would I check? Oh, it's at $13. That works. Well, suggestion ID, Tony, call failed. I mean, is it? Is it returning choices? What? So it's returning something. let's use down. Actually, I'd rather use this. I should just done it here. Ah, damn it. Sleep. So this idea of ambiguity and clarity is, I'll get into it. Oh yeah, damn it. So I don't need to sleep. Stupid. I wish they don't fucking do sleep. What the fuck is that for? Unnecessary. And I think I've indicated that somewhere. You know? Okay, first, just freaking grab whatever. Okay. Look at the request. See what the request. Alright. Oh, fuck. Oh, well. This tells you one thing, even GPT, even when I'm using context 7, the answers are incorrect, which means context 7 is also problematic. Let me... I mean, it would be great if I can find... Okay, how about you do it? Alright, plan mode. Last time I used the cursor plan mode, it was pretty good, so let's just see. Based on my review of the code, I can now create a comprehensive plan for this enhancement. However, I have a couple of clarifying questions. Okay. Well, maybe I should. I should change this description in my stream. Okay. Oh. Alright. Let's answer. Should the toggle be only in settings available per API request? 1A. 1A. Set. An environment variable env.docker.example and docker two. What should be the default behavior? Sequential at high compare batch. 3. Let me proceed with reading the environment to assign the settings for better. Perfect. I review the code and assign the current implementation before creating the final plan. I declare on 2 design decision, toggle scope, settings level. Nope, I don't want to do per request. No, that's just, people don't want to think about that. I'm assuming default behavior means if the environment variable was not set or detected, and this is the fallback. Let's hear some music. Where's my mic's on? Test. Why the heck does this like go backwards? It's supposed to be back at 135. Oh man. My computer didn't restart or anything. Why did it? So the stupid thing was not stupid thing as in, why can't I lock this in or some shit? Damn it. Well, well, too bad. Now I'll have to like, I can't tell if this is like way over. Anyways, let me reduce the explosive factor on the mic. Hopefully that's better. I don't know. Okay. So I guess the first hour of my stream, the audio was probably pretty low, which sucked. Okay, what's the plan? Add environment variable, what suggestion apply mode to control with the multiple what's. Okay, add setting, add new. Default sequential. What suggestion apply mode? What? What the? Actually, I think it should be something like this. Yeah. Like, do you need to be that detailed? No. And just like being sticky. Renew badge. Alright, let's build. Let's clock the time. It is 13:31. Maybe I'll do a stopwatch. Okay, let's go. Oh, yeah. What is it going to do? I'm not an advocate of actually, well, let me go back. I think coding with AI is definitely is definitely not going to go away. But I do think we need to code, we need to think about coding in a different way, or how we approach using LLMs. Well, at least up until the point, the idea of using LLMs change, and because the nature of LLMs is that there is always going to be some ambiguity in the models, and there will be some areas of clarity. For example, a very easy thing to think about is if you have if you have a problem, or if you have a knowledge domain, let's just say here, that has much data. So let's just say a knowledge domain is like a let's say a language. Let's say PHP. So the language domain, the knowledge domain of PHP is pretty extensive, and the documentation about it is quite clear, right? So there'll be quite a lot of clarity in the LLM. But let's just say a new model, right? GPT-5 is a good example of a new model that just released not long ago, and the LLM models are not completely trained on it. So maybe OpenAI is trained on the current model, but other LLMs are not. So that will introduce some level of ambiguity. And what would that do? That would just force the LM to make, you can say, let's just say, educational guesses, right? And what does that do? Then it creates bugs creates errors, it creates problems in your code. And you see this, I think you see this across the board in different parts in YouTube, in a lot of people's experiences. So you get people that have a lot of highs and lows. So what I mean is, right now, if you go to YouTube, there are some people that really love LLMs, like coding with LLM, coding with Claude Code, and then there's people that don't, right? And I believe it's this spectrum of people that are going through either they are doing something that has a lot of ambiguity, or that they are doing something that has a lot of clarity, right? And this is just a small part of what I think are things that have ambiguity and things that have clarity. And these are like a spectrum on a scale of like from one end extreme is ambiguity and the other end is clarity. So I think I might have gone off a little bit, but the idea is that if you're working on anything where you know there is going to be a lot of ambiguity, your experience will be very what I call you have an experience that's like a wave, right? What I mean is you'll have peaks of highs, like things that work, and then you'll have these dips of lows. And one of those lows, those are when you get into a situation where you make a prompt and then everything breaks, or what you're working on works but then everything else breaks, or something along the way is broken. And and when you're working on something that has more clarity, that chance of breaking gets reduced, so your experience is a little bit more steady, right? You have progressive steadiness in terms of how you work, in terms of improvement of your code base and the product, right? It's a continuous upward trend, or it should be. I mean, I think as a developer, most of the time when I code without LLMs, I would say the experience is it's usually it's like a steady, no one say like an exponential curve. I kind of went over the board here, but it's a steady upward curve. And the idea of that is that it's not what I mean there is your product will keep on growing and improving, of course, as long as the code base is good, but you generally would have a product that will constantly increase in scope, or completion of the scope until the product is complete, and you'll have a product that is workable, functional, with no errors, or at least the least amount of errors, and well tested, right? And that would be the experience. I would say something I call clarity, which is at the extreme end is like no AI coding, I would say, and just pure like programming. But because there's a spectrum, I mean, like what I'm doing is I do use Cursor to help with my coding. So I think, I mean, I would say that this, too bad I couldn't draw it here, but I would say there's a kind of curve of people. There's probably a lot of people that's kind of like situated on the, like in terms of coders, or people creating stuff with apps or programming or whatnot. I think there's a lot of people that have rushed into the beginning end of this ambiguity cycle spectrum. So a lot of people that are not coders have ran in and to try using stuff like Lovable or V0, and then you kind of have a drop with people with more experience that start to kind of switch towards using AI coding tools, and then you have like experienced coders, which are not like, they want full clarity, so they just kind of drop off. They don't even join. They don't want to experience or put much effort into using AI assisted tools, because they because the experience is definitely different. You don't get the same level of deep understanding, I would say. Not that you don't understand what's going on, but like, think of it like in terms of coding. I would say coding, I would say one of the things that coders have to know in the past is syntax. So to me, syntax, I think it's controversial. Some people say that, people probably hate me for this, but I think syntax is not as important when it comes to LLMs, because a lot of the work is already a lot of the you know, I don't want to say low level, but basically the actual writing of the code in full is handled by the LLMs. But I think what I feel is more important is the logic of how these let me clean up. What? What is this? Wow, okay. Alright, so just point one is, actually I was speaking for 6 minutes, so this is actually 3 minutes and 43 seconds around. Okay, so this feature was pretty quick in comparison to what I did before. Alright, so I'm thinking, should I even finish what I was saying? Anyways, oh, I thought I had time to talk about more about this, but I mean, it's very hard for me to kind of like verbalize what I want to say. I usually write things down, but I think a lot of, so let me boil this down to something very, I don't want to, sometimes I overthink things, but I'd say like people like new entering into this realm of building apps and coding and whatnot using no code tools like Lovable, I think they're entering into a realm where because they're not experienced, there's naturally going to be a lot of ambiguity. And I think their experience, so let's just say their experience, a non-programmer that's using Lovable versus a person that has a background experience of coding will experience Lovable differently. So, and that's what I mean by ambiguity and clarity. So the new person will be able to probably slam things together with Lovable, but they're going to experience a lot of dips and ups and downs and whatnot, because they're going to hit roadblocks and then they're going to have to prompt to fix and consistently do that. Whereas a programmer like myself, I would know, for example, data structures. Like I'll probably create some basic data structure for Lovable so that right off the bat it knows or has some background understanding of what I want to execute. And so the data structure itself is a bit more solid. A lot of the times as a programmer, I would not think short term. I would also where it's possible, I would think of doing things where there might be a future expectation of change or scope change, and so I would make the data structure a bit more solid from the start, so that we can easily consume a new feature based on what I would consider to be easy to modify in the code base, but we don't have to worry about changing the data structure. I'm not too sure that's clear, but the main idea is that one, I think it's hard to change data structures, especially once the application is fully, or at least even finished at the MVP level. Like if you wanna grow this app after MVP, and you have a bad data structure, usually you have to make some patches, or just some workaround or hack that make it work, which is fine too. But I generally, so maybe it's a preference, I rather build something that's more robust in the beginning. So why I mentioned this is because I talked to multiple people that has used Lovable, and even my partner in building out our current app. Like, she's using Lovable to build up part of the front end, and there are instances where she comes across asking me questions about how do we handle this if this happens, and usually those are data structure related questions, which as a novice you won't think about it. It's the typical I'm not sure so as a developer, I think I always get into situations where people would say, oh, can you just change this, and this, and that's the, can you change this, and this meaning maybe some feature that instead of showing a text, it's showing some select options of different things. And what I'm trying to say is to a design, even designers that are not knowledgeable about programming, or to some higher ups, and they request such feature change, to them it's like, you're just making this change, right? It's going from this to this. It's easy to visualize, but when it's actually captured as a feature, it's quite different. Sometimes it's easy, but sometimes it's hard, and so I think that's where I'm talking about ambiguity. I would think of things in very clear terms, and so a lot of times when I work with clients, I do have to explain certain things depending on what the problem is, and that's where vibe coders that don't know coding, they'll encounter these problems along the way, and it's a good thing, I think. It's like my partner said, now I know why you're saying that certain things to change takes so much more time. I think non-coders are starting to realize that things are not as easy, right, to change as just drawing out on a piece of paper. So I went off tangent, but I think that's I think LLMs are great because it does introduce coding and building products to people that has never done it before, and actually they can enter into this market in a realistic way, they actually can create stuff. And in my case, I'm working together with my partner, where she's not a programmer, but she's able to put stuff together, and I'm working on some of the harder parts of the like the business logic or the actual functional parts of the application. And so hopefully we can come together and then put together this MVP. And this was not something we could do before. Like, she would strictly be like business related and nothing to do with application development. Like, not that nothing, like she would be involved with knowing what she wants, but in order to move what she wants mentally forward, she has to talk to someone that's in the tech side, right? Either a UI designer, UI UX person, graphic designer, or programmer, right? Even just from her ideas down to a wireframe where she can visualize, there needs to be this communication and transferring of an idea to someone else. And I think now that gap has been reduced, where she doesn't need to do that. She can just go from what she's thinking about and start putting it together. And I think that's a time save, massive time save. It used to be maybe 2-3 days of work between her and somebody else, but now it's minus one person. Don't need a UI UX person, down to she putting something together. I'm not saying that we don't need UI UX people, because I still think UI UX design, something presentable, functional, is still a necessity, because I don't think a person that doesn't know UI UX and putting something together makes them a UI UX expert, right? I think realistically, they're going from point A to point B. It's kind of like them going towards just building a very, very basic wireframe. And I think it should take it as that, because the wireframe is also not exactly, wireframes don't exactly represent the actual final product. And I would say, unless unless she does have a background in design and UI UX, I would not trust that to be the final product. I would think that the final product is something that has to go through some sort of UI UX phase, so that it's just more polished. And I think these are gaps where it's not realistically filtered out. I think some people think that LMs are replacing everyone, but I don't think so. Okay, after that long spiel, what happened? What happened is, okay, we successfully, wait, I don't know where this document is. Definitely is not. Yeah, so I don't like, personally, I don't want to have a default. I want to be able to catch environment setting problems that are not set. Sequential, okay. What about There's documentation. Well, that's validation. So this is the actual service. Okay, apply multiple. So my gut is that it should be combining this into one prompt. Remove count. Oh yeah, I don't want remove. No applicable. Okay, so this is looping through the suggestions. Enumerate. What is it? I mean, I think this is destructuring. But what's a 1 for? Yeah, what's a 1 for? So I like doing this too, which is just something I don't know. Could you explain this? It helps me understand, Python, because I'm not a Python developer. I mean, my background is in PHP, but I could read this code. If you asked me to write this from scratch, I'm pretty sure I can't. Suggestions. Yeah, okay. IDX. So I'm thinking of this as key value pairs. Okay. Oh, okay, it says the start number. Okay, interesting. Oh, fuck. Is that... Slow case, yeah, I remember that. Oh. Yeah, the model is lowercase. What the fuck? Okay, wait. Oh, okay. Doesn't. Okay. I think this is lowercase. And this is lowercase. Okay. So this is just basically creating a single string. Just mark down current MD. Yeah, it's just in the current markdown. It's being passed. So I just assume that it's probably just getting it from database. Apply the following. Changes in order, formatted suggestion. Yeah. So this, yeah, okay. Batch, calling LM to apply batch suggestions. Okay. Okay, so let me ask this. So where does this get called? Alright, it's pretty straightforward. I wish they just... Let me see, can't this be... Isn't this the same? I wonder what the difference is there. Yeah, I see. So this is an example of, I mean, this definitely somewhat, I mean, this definitely can be refactored because this essentially is two pieces of code that is copied, right? The LM would do that, but why would it, well, see, let me, I mean, just an interesting take on this problem, right? What it did here was it decided to, like, you know, there's two situations that I need to take care of, right? There's the create new what version and update what version. So this is essentially the same code, right? And I would so for a novice programmer would not have caught this, right? What would happen is this would just get committed, and that's it. But what will happen? Like, why is this? Is this important? Does this matter? Like, it still works, right? The code works. Yeah, the code works. But what will happen when you need to update? When you need to update this code, well, what will happen is if you forget to update the code in one place, you might forget about this. Or if you have a different developer that's come into the project and is working on this, and then they don't realize or forget that there's create and there's an update. Like, this is a typical, like, in this situation, it would have been easily, like, I would have easily, like, created a method just to handle this, right? And yeah. Oh shit. One, yeah. And I mean, I don't need to, right? But why not? Oh, I wonder why this doesn't work. I want to add this, add to chat, but it doesn't. Okay. I mean, unless Carson knew that this is just the same piece of code. Why is it not? Okay, please review this piece of code, which has been reused in that. See what I'll do. Yeah, so why didn't do that? I don't know. Maybe it's just, maybe the fact is there's a lot of code in it small to understand that this isn't necessary. I don't know. It's a lot to not deal with this, maybe. Who knows? Is this a good way to program? I don't think so. I mean, this is an easy one to catch, and you should have just done it. Like, I would have done it if I was just programming. like I won't have let it go because yeah, because yeah, I'm just wondering why I have so many lint. Yeah, so that was an easy, easy fix. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe I didn't define it somewhere, but like right now, like like how like this experience here would make me think like I'm working with a very junior, like not very junior, but a junior developer, right? Like they didn't even, like, this is not a senior level developer that would have done this. Did it write tests? So like when I see like 100 or 500 lines of code, see this. these are examples of where I get lazy. I guess the question is, with this application, would I have been able to do this on my own? Not in Python, or not in Python now. I think I will have. I mean, I'll need to learn more. So I'm not gonna lie about the fact that I don't know Python well, but I will say I know how applications are put together, and I'm using that as a backdrop of how I'm using those skills to this. Okay, let me try to run the apply first and see if because at the end of the day I want to make sure this works. Well, I'll reapply because, yeah, I have worksheets that are set already. What's happening here? So I think the cool thing is that I can... Oh, that was fast. based on if I remember what happens is like if I do that, if I switch which gets applied, it should use the previous version and then reapply. So what that means is it doesn't keep but I don't know. I think that's what it should do. Okay, 21. Yeah, that's our latest one. That was fast. Okay, so that no longer is there. Which is what I expected. What was 21? I don't need that. Topic, theme, cultural festival focus. Okay, so there should be number 3 should have changed. Right. Okay. Okay. Let's see this. Okay. Okay, it's working. Okay, so it's working as expected. Now let me try to switch this up to using the batch. Oh, I should give a batch sequential. Okay, so let's just change to batch. So I'll need to restart. And my next one should be, okay, let's just do one, or let's just do two, one and two together. Alright, so indices 0, 1. I wish this would go, yeah, so one of the things I didn't do is like this is the only feature that didn't run through didn't create a run and run result. I would have liked that, then I can see the output. Yeah. I'll probably do that change later. But before that, apply count, okay. Let's see the API endpoint. Actually, also when I don't have it in here, I can't tell how much it cost because I implemented pricing. Oh, yeah. So only the latest stuff has pricing. Okay. Jumping around, mentally jumping around. Okay. So, no cultural, whatever. Yeah, okay. So let's see what the request says. Apply the following 2 changes in order. Action, add, path, Changes to apply. See what the output was. So stretching number 3. Okay. That's what happened. Okay. And how much it took? 3,000? Oh, that's good. Okay. Let's try doing the oh, did I screw up? Yeah. Okay, so this should apply all where ID equals 5. Yeah, so now I should apply all these. And if it does it with 3,000 tokens, it was way cheaper than how I did it before. Let's see. Yeah, see, this is an example of that. So each of these were like 2,000. They all were in the range of 3,000. So 5, 3,005. So 5. Yeah, a lot of tokens, which I didn't need to do. Nice. Okay. Let me check out. So I think 1 and 2 already know, right? 1 and 2, so cultural reference, reading comprehension. 3, instruction and style. Instruction clarity level. Cool. Section visual elements. Visual integration with text. Okay, so I think that worked out pretty well. And that was how many tokens? Oh, dang, okay. Okay. I would say that was success. Okay. So now we have one more problem. It's like we do have a failing test. Oh, here I have a. Also, I didn't realize this was a new feature of Cursor. They have cursor commands, so I had some here ready to test. App test check. Yeah, so it just does a run on the test, and it should continuously run these tests. Okay, right now I'll just go like this, just allow it to run. So this should continuously loop until the tests don't fail. Two? I didn't realize there were 2. I thought there was only one. Oh, dang. Fix has applies error batch handling, error message assertion mismatch. Alright. Fuck, don't close my reading. Okay. Actually, testing that is kind of stupid, but I'll leave it in there. Wait, what are you doing? I'm just trying to fix some of these some of my linting errors. And I know it's because I'm running my app inside a Docker container. I'm just trying to see, should I set dev container? Yeah, I haven't used dev container before, so I know this is my problem. My problem is in my linting. I really hate seeing these lint errors. Like, this is just... So what? What? Of course, a command palette.